What is up, 4D fam, and welcome back to the channel, guys. Had to check this one out. I was like, you know what? Let me check out, see what Not Just Bites got, because I think it's been like a day or two since I did one, and I was looking and I seen this one. Thought it was pretty interesting because it's the lively and livable neighborhoods that are illegal in most of North America. So we finna see, like, I'm finna see what this about. I was interested. I said, what could be illegal about like certain living standards? You know, we never hear about those type of things. So I was like, let me check it out. Before I jump in, y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Send down recommendations. Maybe y'all know more information on this. Y'all let me know. Hey, subscribe. Finna jump into it.
One of the things I really like about Amsterdam is the shops and restaurants that are dotted throughout residential areas in the city. These patios and local shops provide a lot of interesting destinations that are always within a very short walk or bicycle ride. This is different from a high street or main street, where the shops are all along one major street. Cities in the Netherlands, like most countries, have high streets too. But these retail pockets bring an interesting character and liveliness to residential neighborhoods, and are a more quiet and enjoyable environment to sit in or shop in than along a busy main street. In many ways, these pockets of retail and restaurants remind me of the alleyways of Taipei, which were my favorite part of the city, as they provided liveliness while also making what would otherwise be a dark alley into a location that was inviting and interesting.
I know are some cities, like our major cities, especially in Texas, there are ways where either you can park and it's just straight walking distance. Like I know San Antonio and Austin, like if you're downtown, that's mainly where everything is, so you can pretty much walk everywhere. I kind of understand with that, because most places, I know where I'm at, where I live at now, there's nowhere you can go to the store and walk to the store, but it's not like this where everything is there.
Location that was inviting and interesting. So these pockets of shops and restaurants are in no way unique to the Netherlands. But what is interesting is that they are illegal to build in almost all of the US and Canada. North American cities follow an approach called Euclidean zoning. If you've ever played SimCity or City Skylines, this will be familiar to you. Euclidean zoning will come up in future videos because it's a big source of problems with North American city design, but I'm not going to go into too much detail of the history here. If you want to learn more, the exceptional urban planning channel City Beautiful has made some good quality videos about zoning in US cities. I'll put links below.
Check that out.
But for our purposes now, here's the quick summary. During the Industrial Revolution, cities were pretty horrible places. Someone could literally open a steel mill in the middle of a residential neighborhood, and this led to horrible pollution and a terrible living environment. So zoning was introduced to separate incompatible land uses. This was probably the single most significant contribution that urban planners made to public health in the history of the profession, and likely saved millions of lives, which is why almost every country has some kind of zoning ordinances.
Which makes sense. Because I know where I'm from, they have one of those big old, like, it's a steel mill, something, and it looked like it just generated a lot of smoke. I mean, now, of course, it's shut down, but you can just see it, like, away from everything. But yeah, I understand why. Well, no, it might be some houses, but it is some houses by there.
Which is why almost every country has some kind of zoning ordinances.
That makes sense.
Unfortunately, some countries took this a step too far and decided that absolutely everything should be separated from absolutely everything else. This means that in most North American cities, if an area is zoned as residential, then literally nothing else can be built in that area. Here's a typical zoning map, in this case of my hometown of London in Canada. It is illegal to open a shop or restaurant anywhere within the yellow shaded area. Now, admittedly, it is important to keep a residential area quiet and comfortable to live in, and that's not always compatible with other uses. In the Netherlands, there are sometimes issues with noise, crowds, garbage, and other problems related to living right next to or above a commercial property. But like all things in city planning, there is a balance to be achieved. Modern North
Dang, I understand. That makes a lot of sense now. That makes a whole lot of sense. Cause everywhere you look, like we have some stores, some restaurants. They're like right by neighborhoods, but it's not like to the point where it's causing a lot of noise or chaos or anything like
Like
that.
all things in city planning, there is a balance to be achieved. Modern North American planning takes a very extremist view that there is no value to having shops and restaurants within a residential neighborhood. But North American zoning is extremist in general. For example, if a neighborhood is zoned R1
Yeah.
for single-family homes, then nothing else, not even townhouses or apartments, can exist there. I'll talk about that in more detail in the future, but in the meantime, you can watch the City Beautiful video.
See, I know where I live, that's actually false because, like, we have a whole neighborhood and across our townhomes. Like, they build townhomes within the neighborhood. And that's because you can purchase them. They're not like for rent or anything like an apartment or nothing like that, but they're actually some that you can buy. Maybe that's the difference. Maybe that's the
Meantime, you can watch the City Beautiful video, The Case Against Single-Family Zoning. What's interesting to me is that this was not always the case. In our former neighborhood in Toronto, built about 100 years ago, there were several commercial buildings built within the neighborhood. These areas have been grandfathered into the zoning code and are some of the most desirable and expensive neighborhoods in the whole city. But despite their appeal, new neighborhoods will never be built
It
this
looks like
way
a
again.
regular house.
Beyond the liveliness that these places bring to a neighborhood, the fundamental issue here is walkability. If there's a local shop, grocer, restaurant, or pub in your neighborhood, then you can walk there. But if your residential neighborhood is separated from every other use, then it means you have to drive to do anything you want to do, and so does everyone else. That results in a lot of car traffic because it doesn't matter if you're driving across town or just need to buy a bag of milk. You have to get in your car. And yes, where I'm from, we buy milk in bags and we like it that way.
Oh, I thought here, I was like, I was just thinking a bag of milk. Hey, it's different, you know, we got jugs.
Get in your car. And yes, where I'm from, we buy milk in bags and we like it that way.
Okay. It might be better that way, to be honest.
But once you go into the trouble of getting into your car, you're much less likely to drive to several small shops, meaning most people skip local businesses and drive to the power center with a giant parking lot. Shops in walkable areas are more likely to be run by local entrepreneurs who contribute significantly to the local economy in a way that big box stores do not.
See, I feel like that's almost every downtown, though, in America. Because, like, is everything you can just park and just walk, or if you wanted to just walk anywhere, everywhere, and do a little eating, a little chill, relaxing, it's almost every downtown. I know our downtown, like, you can walk everywhere. They have a couple of shops, a couple of places you can do some things.
Entrepreneurs who contribute significantly to the local economy in a way that big box stores do not. And I will talk about that in a future video about the twisted economics of big box stores in
Not
North America.
Marshalls.
By comparison, a walkable neighborhood has enough people living within walking distance for small shops to stay in business, and parking lots are not required, making space available for patios, parkettes, and places for people to live. Thankfully, there is a realization in many US and Canadian cities that Euclidean zoning has gone too far. You'll hear urban planners talk about mixed-use development, which is what the rest of the world calls the way you build things. However, I find these developments are still highly localized, such as at a transit hub or along an arterial road. I rarely hear about bringing back low-impact commercial spaces, like restaurants, cafes, and retail shops, into existing residential neighborhoods. And far too much of the area in North American cities is still zoned as exclusively R1 single-family homes. In Toronto, for example, this is called the Yellow Belt, because despite downtown Toronto being one of the most urbanized areas in North America, it is still surrounded by a sea of yellow on zoning maps, where only single-family homes can be built.
I never knew that.
So I'm happy to live again in a place with sane zoning laws that allow beautiful urban environments like this to exist. Places that reduce car traffic, support local entrepreneurs, encourage diverse retail, and promote walkability. Because honestly, I have absolutely no interest in going back to live in a place like this.
Dang.
And speaking of supporting small businesses, I've had several people ask if they can contribute to the future of Not Just Bikes. So last week, I set up a Patreon account. If you'd like to support the channel, check out
Nice,
patreon.com/notjustbikes
nice.
or click on the link below. As for me, I've got to get some milk. I may not be able to buy it in bags anymore, but at least I can walk there.
That's true, that's true. Nice, nice. Hey, walking definitely make a difference. I think I need to get out and walk more, but yeah, that's crazy. Like I never knew, like I knew about zoning and stuff like that, but it makes a lot of sense on why now in North America, like you see neighborhoods, there's no stores. Like we have to drive. I think the closest store to us is Walmart, but it's like driving wise, it's like 3 to 5 minutes away, depending on how fast you drive. But then everything else is like on one street where I'm at. So it really just depends. But there's houses in the areas, but they're like almost behind the restaurants, behind the stores and stuff like that. They're not like within the same they're not on the same street really. But I think that I mean here that's what I'm used to. Y'all let me know what's different where you're at. What's it like where you at? I know most of y'all say y'all can walk and bike to where you are. Most of y'all had to drive to work and stuff like that. But hey, just let me know about the zoning in your area. You know, I'm interested. Because it does make a difference being able to get all that you need when you just down the street. That's why I said like where we live, 3 to 5 minutes, Walmart. I can walk to Walmart. It just might take me about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, probably more. It just depends. But I can drive there in like 3 to 5 minutes. And you know, Walmart has everything. So, but that's all I have for this video, guys. Like I said, hit those comments. Let me know about your zoning situation. Hey, hit that subscribe, send down those recommendations, and y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.